Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening depending on where you are in this amazing world. My name is Donovan Jolly and welcome everybody once again for another video of DIY investing. After doing some more market cycle analysis on Bitcoin and Ethereum, I've come to an understanding that I think will blow your mind. I actually think that we could be in for an even longer cycle than I previously expected, something that's going to take us a lot longer towards the point of the end of 2022. In this case, this would be the longest cycle possible, and I think that this would create a bigger market cycle in turn. And the people that are investing in this cycle right now are getting in extremely early. I found a couple really amazing chart patterns that I'm going to share with you guys today that are showing that the bottom is in for Ethereum. I think that this big sell-off that we just saw was a major shakeout, and all of the people that panic sold are about to be very, very upset because what is about to happen with Ethereum is going to blow your mind. I'm very optimistic about everything that we're seeing in crypto. Even with all of this uncertainty in the global economy, I think that overall Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are going to do phenomenal over the next couple of years. And so right now, with all of this fear, the best thing to do is take a look at the big picture trend, and then we can take a look at previous cycles to help understand exactly where Ethereum is headed today. If you're new and just finding this channel, always remember to do me a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel for more updates. Make sure you guys click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos like the one provided for you here. If you guys are looking for an amazing Discord community, I have a server with over 4,000 members and it's growing very rapidly. We're getting close to 5,000 members, and so if you guys want to get a part of a community where you can talk about crypto, where you can share your own analysis, and where you can get other insights from myself personally, I highly recommend that you guys check out that Discord server. On the Discord server, I also offer some of my more exclusive content like my video course and signals. The video course is 20 educational videos that teach you guys all of the same strategies that I use to profit inside of crypto. So if you guys want to learn from some content to help become a profitable analyst and day trader inside of this market, there's a number of videos on there that teach you guys some really awesome stuff. So make sure you guys check that out. Now, the signals are a way for you guys to actually copy my long-term investments heading forward in this next cycle. You'll be able to know exactly what I'm holding, what percentages of each are allocated to what investments, and then I will also create a plan for exiting out of this market. So if you guys want to copy along and follow along all the trades I'm taking, I highly recommend that you guys join the server by clicking in the description of this video, and there you're going to find the invitation link. Once you guys are on board in the Discord, shoot me a message and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. We got a lot of really cool charts today and I don't want to waste too much more time, so let's jump right in this video today. So to start off this video, we're going to be taking a look at Ethereum. Now, I wanted to compare Ethereum and Bitcoin cycles, but this is mainly going to be an Ethereum video. I want to talk about this one today because this is my biggest cryptocurrency investment. I'm very confident about Ethereum on a long-term perspective because I think it has a significant use case for decentralized finance. On top of that, it's just a decentralized application. It's a decentralized platform for other applications. We saw what happened with the ICO bubble. I'm not sure that the same thing is going to happen next cycle, but I think it will come from something else. And Ethereum has so many different utilities. There's so many different people building on it. Chainlink's built on it. You know, there's a lot of really cool things happening on Ethereum. And so what I wanted to go over today is actually this really cool graph that I got from Peter Brandt. I'm actually going to link his website in the video so you guys can actually check out his website that goes over this. But basically what I've noticed inside of Ethereum is a bottom formation that is very, very rare that looks exactly like the bottom formation we saw in copper way back in the 1970s. Now, I would show you guys the actual copper chart, but there is literally no price data that goes back that far. And the only reason I found it was because Peter Brandt had it, and Peter Brandt even had a printout because it was so old. And so what I wanted to share with you guys is this pattern. Now, basically what a compound fulcrum is it's a reversal pattern, but it's a head and shoulder reversal pattern, which is really uncustomary. So for you guys that maybe do not understand what that means, so basically with a head and shoulder pattern, it looks kind of like this. You have the left shoulder, you have the head, you have the right shoulder, and then once it breaks down from this point right here, once we break down and go lower, that's a confirmed reversal, right? So that's a head and shoulder pattern. You have two lower peaks, one bigger peak, and then we break down and fall to the downside. This is a reversal pattern. So usually you have an uptrend, we get this top, and then we start a new bear cycle. But what's interesting about the compound fulcrum is the fact that this is actually a reversal pattern, even though it's a bearish pattern. It's a bearish reversal pattern, but a compound fulcrum happens at the terminal end of a bearish correction. And so you'll have this inverse head, or you'll have this head and shoulder pop up, and instead of selling off and going into new lows, it does what copper did, and it breaks off and goes into new all-time highs. And so this is one of the more rare reversal patterns that you're going to see, and it actually says that on Peter Brandt's website. If you see a compound fulcrum pop up more than once every few years, then most likely you're over trading it. And so I don't know how accurate that is, because one of the things with crypto is it's 24/7 market. So I think that the consolidation and accumulation will happen at a much quicker rate. And so the probability of us running into these patterns most likely increases, because the amount of time in which people are trading on a 24/7 market compared to the stock market is much more significant. And so if we take a look at copper, we can see that we made this pattern. We had the left shoulder, we had the head, we had the right shoulder, and then instead of falling off and going into new lows, we broke out and went into a massive new parabolic cycle. And guys, this is exactly the same as Ethereum. If you compare these two charts, they look exactly the same. Even right here, we get these two little peaks before the head. Ethereum did the exact same thing. Two little peaks, we get the head, we sell off. The only real difference is during the original sell-off from the head to the right shoulder, this one happened pretty quick, whereas Ethereum took a little bit more time to get down there. But nonetheless, it still has the exact same correlations. We still have the same support of the neckline. Even though this right shoulder goes up a little bit higher than left, look at the compound fulcrum that happened in copper. The exact same thing. And then we sell off, we fall back onto trending support, and then we go into new all-time highs. And so I thought this was really interesting, because I see this pattern playing out. It's more of a rare pattern. I don't see anybody talking about it. I personally wouldn't even know what this pattern was if it wasn't for the last bear market cycle. I saw Peter Brandt talk about one, and it actually did break out, and it was a confirmed compound fulcrum. So I learned about that, but now I'm seeing it inside of Ethereum, and I think it's very important that we're talking about this, because this looks like we could very easily be on the verge of breaking out very soon. Now, this is actually what takes me to my next chart, because I have two different comparisons here. So obviously, we have the compound fulcrum comparison that looks just like copper from the 70s. Now, it also looks almost identical to the Bitcoin consolidation that we saw, where Bitcoin capitulated from $1,200 down to like $150, and then we consolidated in this range before we broke out and then went into the new bull cycle to 20K, right? And what I thought was really interesting was just how correlated these two are, and we can see that here. The number one takes us to the bottom of capitulation. 2 is kind of the build up before we get to the cycle high, which is right here. So then we get the cycle high. This is our first resistance. We fall back down onto trending support of the 1 and the 2, which is right here. Takes us to 4. And then from 4, we go to 5, which is another attempt at the breakout of resistance, only we get rejected, and then we fall back and we have a major capitulation that takes us all the way back down to trending support, which is number 6. And this is the exact same thing that happened inside of Bitcoin, and it's the same thing that's happening in Ethereum today. Now, obviously, if Ethereum sells off and goes into new lows, then this wasn't a very good pattern to be following. But I think, guys, I don't think that we're going to sell off into new lows. And I've been saying that. I've been saying that since the start of 2019 when Bitcoin was at $3,200. I thought that that was going to be the bottom, and all of the consolidation after was going to be a higher high, except it was just more volatile this time around. Bitcoin obviously had a 72% drop from $14K down to $3,800, and so it's shaken a lot of people out. But what we're seeing, guys, the Ethereum price structure looks almost identical to the last Bitcoin cycle. Not only that, but it's showing almost an identical cycle comparison between the compound fulcrum and copper that played out in the 1970s, and we're seeing that today. And so what we're seeing is two reversal patterns that look very, very correlated. I mean, whether you're a bull or a bear, if you look at this chart, you cannot tell me that these two do not look identical, because they do. And so when I look at this, I see that Ethereum's been consolidating sideways, has failed to break and make a lower low since 2019. So over a year, we've been doing this. And what I think is interesting is how bearish everybody is when that's generally what's going to happen towards the tail end of a correction, right? And so I thought this was interesting. I wanted to share this analysis with you guys because I see so much fear out there. I see so much uncertainty. I see a lot of people that are wanting to panic sell and buy lower. But the thing about that, guys, is I just don't see us going lower. I think that we're going to hold support here. And let's actually dive into the next charts that show you why. Now, let's go through here. So we're going to be looking at the cycles now of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, I've drawn these cycles for a significant portion of time. Basically, each one of these lines is the new year, and cryptocurrencies behave in cycles of one. The first new year, you get the cycle high. The second new year, you get the cycle low. Third new year, you get the first higher high and the start of the new bull trend. And then year 4, you break out of the all-time high and go into price discovery. Now, this is kind of what I've been updating you guys with, but what I thought was very interesting about this was actually how a cycle works. So the way you do market cycle analysis from the book, and this is actually what I've learned from Bob Lucas. He's been one of my favorite persons to actually learn from in this cycle. I paid for his course back in 2018 during the bear market, and he actually taught me a lot about market cycles. And one of the things that he said was that most market cycles, most upcoming technologies, and whatever it might be, he said that most market cycles follow 4-year cycles. And the way that you measure the cycle is from the low of the cycle. So this is the low of the bear cycle. So we had this entire uptrend, we top, and now the cycle starts from the very bottom of capitulation of that cycle. Now, the way it works is you go from low to low. So 4 years later, theoretically should be the exact low of the next cycle. So 4 years of after 2015 takes us to 2019, and 2019 takes us right here. So if we come in here, let's take a look at how that correlated. So from cycle low to cycle low was exactly 4 years. Look how identical this is. We were almost at the exact bottom for 2015, and then 4 years later takes us to, once again, almost the exact bottom of that bear cycle. And so this is the way 4-year cycles work. You're supposed to measure them from low to low, and that's the way it goes. It's not from low to high, it's not from high to low, it's from low to low, and that equals a 4-year cycle. And so what I thought was interesting was how Bitcoin and Ethereum seem to be correlated identically. They look very, very similar. But what I noticed inside of Ethereum, and let's go back here a little bit. So what I noticed inside of Ethereum was that it was following this cycle. Now what I thought would happen right here was after this year 3, I thought that we were going to impulse and make a higher high. But what happened was we impulsed, hit resistance, and then rejected back down onto support, right? So that was where I made a mistake, something that I wasn't expecting previously. And let me explain why. So if we take this analysis, let's remove all these drawing tools. If we take this analysis and we're comparing cycle low to cycle low for a 4-year cycle, let's kind of let's forecast and see theoretically what year should the cycle high be of the next one, right? So we have the first of the new year. This starts the first cycle. So then 4 years later, it takes us to 2019. So right here. So that is our first 4-year cycle. Now, with this capitulation, we started a new 4-year cycle. So 2019 started the next 4-year cycle. So from low to low, we should be looking for 4 years. So 4 years from 2019 takes us to 2023, which would be right here. So 4 years from 2019 takes us to 2023. Now, the way that these cycles work is the bear markets are 1 year. The bear cycles last 1 year, and I'll prove it to you right here. So let's go to January 1st of 2018. That takes us to almost the exact high of that cycle. Bitcoin itself makes its first lower high, and then the new year rolls around, whereas the altcoins actually peak at the new year. Now, the bear cycles are exactly 1 year in duration. So 2018 to 2019, we can see that we pretty much captured the entire length of that bear cycle. Now, with this theory in mind, if 2023 is going to be the terminal end of the next correction, then that means exactly 1 year prior to 2023 takes us to 2022, which theoretically should be the cycle high. If the cycle high is 1 year apart from the cycle low, and the cycle low projects us to be in 2023, that means the cycle high theoretically should be right here. And so this is a really interesting thing that I wanted to share with you guys because, you know, the more that we break down these cycles, the more we can find exact correlations. For whatever reason, the way these cryptos work, we go through these cycles and every new year is a very big defining point, and we can see that. The first defining point was the bullish reversal, which happens at this new year right here. Exactly 1 year away from that takes us to almost the exact bottom of the next new year, 1 year from that takes us to the first higher high and the start of the new bull trend. And then 1 year from that takes us to the next big parabolic move, right? Now, Ethereum itself is still following this exact trend. Now, with Bitcoin at the new year, we actually get our first lower high, and then that comes the new year, whereas these altcoins, they keep impulsing after the new year, but the cycles are still very correlated. We get the new year, a year from that point takes us to the bottom, a year from that point. Theoretically, this is a higher high, but with what we're seeing inside of Ethereum, this looks like sideways consolidation. This looks more like a range to me than it looks like an actual higher high. Even though it is a higher high, this to me looks more like a horizontal range. Very similar to what we saw back here inside of Bitcoin, right? And so for me personally, if we're looking at this and we can see that Bitcoin and Ethereum are both consolidating inside of this range, Ethereum's range is just much more elongated. The way that I've kind of gathered my analysis is because Ethereum just barely had its first market cycle ever. This is the first impulse, the first real bull run. And so this is the first bear market that Ethereum has ever had. Now, if 2019 is the very bottom of this Ethereum cycle, then that means Ethereum just started a brand new 4-year cycle. And so if 2019 is going to be the bottom of that cycle, then 4 years later will be the bottom of the next cycle, right? And so that takes us to 2023. So about right here. Now, 2022 is exactly 1 year away from 2023. So if 2023 projects to be the exact bottom of the next cycle, then the exact top of that cycle will be at the end of 2022. And so, guys, this is the analysis I had for you. I wanted to make this because I have changed some things up. In my opinion, this follows the same analysis that I've been watching for you guys for a while now. We have the argument for an elongated cycle because we do have this elongated sideways consolidation inside of Ethereum. But the thing is, guys, if the low was in 2019 and the 4-year cycle low is for 2023, then a year prior to 2023 is 2022, the very start of 2022. So personally, guys, I wanted to update you guys because really my analysis is still holding true. I still projected that the cycle high would be at the end of 2021. That's when I was going to take profits. And then 2022 was going to roll around and that was going to start the bear market decline. And so I wanted to go through and actually draw my analysis. I wanted to talk about some reversal patterns that we're seeing between the compound fulcrum, between the Bitcoin cycle of 2015. And then I wanted to kind of just throw all of that together by taking a look at the cycle analysis. And we can see here that if we base our cycle analysis off of the Bitcoin cycle, we can see that the 4-year cycle was perfect. In fact, Bitcoin itself is such a beautiful chart because you see such symmetrical chart patterns. On top of that, you see a 4-year cycle that behaves exactly as if a 4-year cycle should. And so what I mean by that is 2015 was the start of that 4-year cycle. Now, the way that you conclude a 4-year cycle is from low to low. So 4 years of after 2015 is 2019. And would you look at that? Exactly 4 years away, and we go from exact low to exact low. So because of the fact Bitcoin has followed so identically to the last cycle, and it follows these 4-year cycles with such symmetry, I strongly believe that the next cycle is going to do the exact same thing. Even with all this global uncertainty that's happening right now, I'm still a long-term bull. And I think that the people that are getting shaken out right now are the people that are listening to day traders that are stuck on shorter time frames, are listening to influencers that don't know what they're talking about, or 3, just themselves have no idea what they're doing, and so they're just kind of out and about with the market to chop up. And so I make these videos for you guys to scroll out to show you exactly what's happening on a big picture trend, because the big picture is the only thing that matters. The people that watch my channel are most likely not day traders. You guys most likely have no idea how to invest in these markets with extreme accuracy and efficiency, and so you watch my videos to see the long-term trend, because I'm the same exact way. I'm not trying to do a bunch of day trading. I don't like sitting at my laptop all day. I don't like having open positions that I have to manage every day. I would much rather accumulate the dips, 15 to 20% down days, accumulate, throw some of my extra cash that I have on days like that, and then I would just rather hold the length of the trend, because at the end of the day, I'm risking less, there's less stress involved, and on top of that, I just make more consistent money because I can just invest in the long term, and I'm just going to be profiting that entire uptrend. And so guys, 2019 started the next 4-year cycle. So guys, we have an entire 4-year cycle left that we're still going to be riding through. So now is not the time to be getting shaken out. Even though it's really volatile right now, what you guys got to understand is that's cryptocurrency for you. It does not help that we have all of this uncertainty around this pandemic going on. And so I definitely feel for you guys if you're getting shaken out. But you guys got to understand that the long-term trend of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency has never looked better. And I truly mean that. You know, a lot of people were angry at me because I was continuously maintaining a bullish stance even when we dipped. People were saying, "Ah, he's just a bulltard. Ah, he only thinks that it can be bullish. He doesn't even consider the bearish approach." But you guys got to understand, I obviously consider the bearish approach because I have all of my money invested into this. But it's the bullish approach that is what's going to make me that money, and so I stick to that because from the very bottom of this capitulation cycle, I went all in on crypto, and I've been all in since 2016. But during this point is when I liquidated my cash reserves and bought Bitcoin, and I made a lot of money in that impulse. I took profits and I aimed to buy the dip. Even though I bought the dip a little bit too early in a lot of places, I still did my part by averaging into that market, and I accumulated more money than I had from down here. So I am profiting, and I see a lot of people that are getting shaken out by what's taking place. And I just want you guys to know that it isn't as complicated as you're making it out to be. All you have to do is just zoom out and look at the big picture trend, because for me personally, I make more money investing like this. It's much more easier for me to follow along, and it looks way better when you zoom the crap out and you're not getting so shaken up by what's happening on short time frames. But anyways, guys, this is the video I had for you. If you found any value in this, always remember to do me a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel. Make sure you guys click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos like the one provided for you here. If you guys want access to my signals or my course, join the Discord server by clicking the invitation link in the description. Once you guys have access, feel free to shoot me a message and I can get back to you guys as soon as I am free. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will catch you in the next video. As always, peace out.